This is Theremin 30. 30 minutes of theremin music, news, events, and interviews with a new episode about every 30 days. Now, here's your host from Denver, Colorado, USA, Rick Reed.
Well, hello, and welcome to the only regularly scheduled podcast devoted to theremin music and theremin events. In this August 2019 episode of Theremin 30, we'll feature recordings from the USA, the UK, and Germany, all played with the permission of the artists. We'll take a look at the calendar of theremin events, and we'll also hear the conclusion of my interview with Michelle Moog-Koussa, founder of the Bob Moog Foundation and the new Moog-Museum in Asheville, North Carolina. Let's start off with some modern classical music. From Austin, Texas, here's thereminist Aileen Adler, accompanied by Catherine Davis at the piano. We started that set with Aileen Adler and pianist Catherine Davis. Catherine wrote the song for a 2017 performance art exhibition called The Illusory Impressions Project. Then we heard Improvisation 2 from Atlanta-based experimental artists Duet for theremin and lap steel. Duet is embarking on a concert tour very soon, and I've got details in the Theremin 30 calendar of events. So let's do that right now. On the August calendar of Theremin events, Dr. G is touring the public libraries of Nova Scotia with his science-focused concerts for kids. The new Moog-Koussa in Asheville, North Carolina celebrates Leon Theremin's birthday and its own grand opening with 3 days of events from August 13th through the 15th. I'll have more details later in the show. In Montreal on August 23rd and 24th, Alex Schirmer teams with Gregoire Blanc for an afternoon of theremin workshops and a concert premiere of a new work composed by Alec. And among the September calendar highlights, Duet for theremin and lap steel take their show on the road, September 5th through the 14th, with performances in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and Illinois. In mid-September, Mandarin Electronic hosts several Theremin 100 Japan events, including an attempt to set a new theremin world record. To get more details on these events and many more, follow the links on the calendar at theremin30.com. Our next recording comes from the German industrial band Schramm, featuring Robert Meyer on theremin. I only took one semester of German in college, so I don't know exactly what these lyrics are saying. So if you happen to be more fluent in German than I am, be warned that I haven't screened this track for any explicit or offensive language. I do know that the song was inspired by the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Robert tells me it's about how a lobotomy can turn a healthy individual into a zombie. I just dig it for Robert's theremin riffs. Here's Schramm with a track called Elektromat.
Strom durch den Körper, Strom durch den Geist. Kalt wird die Seele, heiß wird das Fleisch. Strom durch den Körper, Strom durch den Geist. Elektromat. Das Ziel. Kommt keine Regung, helfen sie dir. Nimm diese Kleider, zwangsintegriert. Sicherheitsschlösser werden kodiert. Leichte Symptome, schwer therapiert. Datenverkehr. Schnelldiagnosen nützen sie dir. Wachprotokolle, Schlafinjektion, Experimente, Stimulation. Stromtherapeuten freuen sich schon. Elektromat, Elektromat, Elektromat. Öffne die Augen, sieh was passiert. Schmerzinstrumente nochmal justiert. Kraftvolle Abwehr, sie sind es leicht. Straffe Fixierung zur Sicherheit. Elektromat, jetzt wird geheilt. Jetzt wird geheilt, jetzt wird geheilt.
Art verrückt oder was? Das seid ihr nicht. Ihr seid nicht mehr und nicht weniger verrückt als jedes Durchschnittsarschloch draußen auf der Straße.
You can see the official music video of Elektromat in the new Theremin 30 video playlist. There's a link on our website, or just search for Theremin 30 on YouTube. There's more music to come on the Theremin 30 podcast, and we'll play part 2 of my interview with Michelle Moog-Koussa. So keep listening. Remember, you can find links to all of the artists featured on this podcast at theremin30.com. Right now, I'm going to break my own rules. This next track does not feature a theremin. Instead, Charlie Draper plays the Ondes Martineau, along with pianist Paul Jackson. This song is called Fantasy for Ondes Martineau and Piano. It was written by French composer Pierre Vallon in 1930, but was never published, and fortunately for my podcast, it has lapsed into the public domain. This is believed to be the second musical composition ever written specifically for the Ondes Martineau. This live performance was recorded at the Theremin and Ondes Martineau workshop and recital held at Oxford University this past May. In the July episode of Theremin 30, I interviewed Michelle Moog-Koussa, the founder and executive director of the Bob Moog Foundation. We talked about the mission of the foundation and about the cool theremin exhibits at the new Moog-Museum in Asheville, North Carolina. But we ran out of time, so let's play the rest of that interview now. What do you have lined up for the grand opening celebration?
We are still working on that, but I will let just your listeners know that we have secured a loan of the Moog prototype from the Henry Ford Museum, and we will be featuring that, and that Herb Deutsch will be joining us for 2 different talks, listening parties, and Q&As, and a dinner. And we are working on a couple other events as we speak. So people should check out our Facebook pages and sign up for our e-newsletters, and they will be able to get some updates then.
Tell people how to find out about that information. What is your website and Facebook page?
They can go to the Bob Moog Foundation website, which is moogfoundation.org. We've also started a Moog-Museum page, but we're still working on it, but they can always check it because it will be growing, and that's moogseum.org. That's Moogseum, Moog-Museum. And we also are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, both as the Bob Moog Foundation and the Moog-Museum.
And kind of a personal question for you. What are the challenges and the rewards of doing this work about your father?
That's a great question. Let's start with the challenges. The challenges are that it's in an extraordinarily complex, diverse legacy and requiring a lot of attention to detail as far as fully understanding and communicating it. Another challenge would be that people mistakenly think that Bob Moog was a multimillionaire, which he most certainly was not, and that he left us millions of dollars to do this work, which is not the case. So people think that we're privately funded through that source, when the truth is that we're quite small in our financial resources and we are donor-driven. Another challenge is that people think that we are part of the company Moog Music, which is also not true. We're completely independent from Moog Music, and that tends to create its own set of confusion. So we are constantly messaging to people, just letting them know that Moog Music manufactures the instruments, but we are the ones carrying on Bob's legacy through the educational and archival preservation. I would say those are probably the 3 biggest challenges. The rewards, those are both too many to list and immeasurable. Bob's legacy is so rich in not just technology, history, education, but there's a very special spiritual component to his legacy in the way that he and his work connect with other people and inspire them to do great things on their own. And to be able to witness that through this work has been one of the most rewarding things that's ever happened to me. So just being able to carry on the legacy and continue to help people understand it is quite an immense honor on my part.
That's an experience that I'm sure that very few people get to have with their parents. Even though he's not with us anymore, it seems like the relationship you have with him is transformed by the work you're doing.
Yes, it is. And it's been very interesting for me to learn more and more about his professional history, which I knew very little about before I started this job, which was after his passing, because he never really talked about his work. So a lot of what I've learned has been through the work with the foundation. And there will be times when I'm reading about what's happening, often the challenges and, even some of the low points in his career, and thinking about what's going on in our family life at that point, maybe how he was, what his stress level was, what other things happened, and it all kind of clicks for me. And that goes for some of the, the positives as well. It's not just the hard stuff, but, he spent a lot of time away from home, and as a kid, that you interpret that one way. And it might make you feel a certain way about yourself, depending on what kind of kid you are. But the more I read about all these fantastic relationships that my dad had with musicians, how devoted he was to helping them express their craft, and how they were really his beacon and how deeply inspired they were, not only by his work, but by his humility and the ease in which they could connect with him. It really helped me understand and appreciate why he was gone so much, because he was gone working with those musicians. And, finally, I would say that running the Bob Moog Foundation has not always been an easy task. And just about everyone in my family and a few other people have at different points suggested that I give up because it was too hard. And I have said to them, you know how many times in your life you get a chance to do something like this? If you're lucky, you get one chance. So no, I'm not giving up.
While I have you here, tell me about the documentary film project you're working on.
Electronic Voyager is a documentary that follows me tracing my dad's footsteps in order to help people understand him well beyond his iconic status. And we've been working on the project for a few years. We have done extensive filming all up and down the East Coast and in Europe. And the director has spent the last 4 or 5 months doing some really fascinating editing. And they are hoping to have the editing done by the end of the year. I know that they will be at the grand opening and they will be doing some additional filming in Asheville. We'll be doing some voiceover work, and we will be doing an additional set of interviewing and traveling in California. And then the project will wrap up. So we're really excited about it because at this point, there are over 100 hours of interviews for the 90-minute documentary. And I think it's going to be incredibly interesting and insightful in ways that no other piece of material about Bob Moog has been before.
I understand Electronic Voyager has been crowdfunded. Is it too late for someone to buy into it or to pre-order a copy of the finished film?
I'm not sure. I do know that in the latest Indiegogo campaign, they were in a phase that was called something like extended, which means you could basically participate after the official deadline. So if any of your listeners are interested, they can go to Indiegogo campaign and search Electronic Voyager and see if those opportunities are still open. But Electronic Voyager also has a website, and they can check there. I know that the crew was looking into accepting donations, and there are other ways that people can help, and that help is always welcome because producing a documentary is not only a ton of work, but it requires a lot of finances. So any support there is greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you. I'm curious, are you a theremin player?
I am not, but I would love to learn how to play the theremin, if only a little bit.
So would I. I've been at it for 10 years.
Right. And that's part of it. Yes, I would love to learn how to play the theremin, and I have respectfully not even tried yet because I understand the dedication that it takes. I am in admiration and awe of all of the practicing thereminists out there.
Well, it sounds like you've got work that you're dedicated to that benefits all thereminists, so we really appreciate all you're doing for the electronic music community.
Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. It's my honor.
In the time since I recorded that interview with Michelle, the Moog-Koussa grand opening has been expanded from 1 day to 3 days. A full slate of performances, presentations, museum tours, and a banquet have been scheduled for August 13th through the 15th. Special guests include electronic musicians Herb Deutsch, Patrick Moraz, Lisa Belladonna, and Larry Fast. You can get all the details online at moogmuseum.org or follow the link on our website. Coming up, I'll tell you about next month's special guest joining us all the way from Japan. Right now, let's go to the UK. Here's Beat Frequency with a brief ambient track called Mortante Elefanto. From Croxley Green, England, that was Beat Frequency, who many of you may know as Gordon Charlton. I want to thank Gordon, Aileen, Duet for theremin and lap steel, Robert and Charlie for allowing me to play their music on this podcast, and a special thank you goes to my interview guest, Michelle Moog-Koussa. Next month, I'm planning to visit with Marios Joanno Elia about the Theremin 100 Japan project and the planned attempt to set a new theremin world record. Also in the September episode, we'll play some of your original theremin music, but only if you send it in to me, so be sure to contact me through the website to get all the details. Of course, I want to remind you that August is Leon Theremin's birth month. His birthday falls on either August 15th or August 27th, depending on which calendar you use. So I'm just going to celebrate for the full 2 weeks. I hope you do too. I'm your host, Rick Reed. Thank you for tuning in.
You've been listening to the Theremin 30 podcast. Visit Theremin 30 on the web at theremin30.com.